We are back with the OnePlus 7T Pro. This phone is beautiful. Look at it. Look how it looks in the hand. I have wanted this phone for a long time. I actually unboxed this phone on my channel a couple years back, and now it's mine. I wanted it and I got it. So yeah, I've had this phone now for about 6-7 months since I got it. And yeah, I would say it's the best OnePlus phone I've had. The back of the phone has a, what do you call this, a D brand skin on it, but this phone is gorgeous. Look at how it feels in the hand. I think it's around 6.7 inches, so it's pretty big. It's probably as big as the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and it has no notch. It has the mute slider, so it goes ringer, volume, silent, so that still stays there on that side. It has the power button on the right hand side, which is perfect. And on the other side, it has the volume rocker buttons. So it's pretty standard, bulk standard stuff on a phone, but it is a really good phone. And you know what? I'm glad I got this. In today's market, there are better phones, but I wanted this, so I got it. The camera is pretty good. And look at it, it pops right out. This is something that at first I thought was a gimmick, but you know what? I like it. I prefer it. It's a little feature that I like. And I thought the camera would, after a couple years break, but still standing strong. Still standing very strong. I think for me, this phone is one that I will keep for a little bit of time because I just like how it is. Let me just, let me readjust this back of the phone because it is a D brand skin, so I can just pull it back and then re-stick it back onto it. The phone is actually blue, but there we go. That feels about right. Just push it in. There we go. That works. That's the beauty of a skin. You can change the way the phone looks. The phone came bright blue. Now it's black and beautiful. So yeah, it's got a fingerprint scanner. And it's pretty quick, very snappy. I think it's got 90 hertz for memory on this phone, so that is pretty useful. Let me check the settings to see in terms of what the display settings are set to. I think I left it at the highest refresh rate. But no, this phone has zero notch. There's no hole punch. There is no like massive top chin or bottom chin. It's pretty uniform across the whole board. The only downside I would say, and I can also swipe to the left to go back or the right side. So it's pretty good. But the only downside I would say is the screen. Like it falls over the edge just slightly. So when watching content, it curves a little bit. But yeah, it has enhanced color. I always try and keep my color natural on these phones just to, make it make sense. But there we go, 90 hertz and standard is 60. Even 60 is pretty quick. So, and you know what? You can tell the difference on it. There are certain occasions where, like here, for example, you can kind of tell. It's not really that noticeable. But on other occasions, I'm going through like actual websites, or you can see how quick and snappy it is. And I have seen that the battery life is affected by keeping it at 90 hertz, but I charge this phone about twice a day because for me, it's why have a phone that has all this power and not use it. So I max out the brightness, max out the refresh rate. The RAM is at its max anyway. So this phone is pretty, good for that. And it does not have, what do you call this? A microphone jack, but it has USB-C, which it's good enough, honestly, at this point. The camera's on top and you can see the blue accents around the phone. And it has quick toggles. So I've had OnePlus phones for a very, very long time. I literally switched from an iPhone to a a OnePlus. But oh yes, and in regards to the camera, when you drop it, it has some settings to detect the fall. So that way, if the camera is out and you drop it, it won't damage the camera because it will fall into the phone. So I smack it, nothing happens. But if you drop it, boom, it goes away, which is pretty good. And it has a spring in there, so it won't like break if you put pressure on the camera. It has a little bit of give. So if I press there, see, it goes in a little bit. If I press a little bit too hard, it goes in by itself. So it's designed to be as, you know, as child proof as possible. So a little bit of pressure goes in perfectly, and if you bang it on your hand, it goes in. And I think if you also like bang it on the table or anywhere else, that should put it, you know, straight in as well. So I've dropped this phone a couple times. The camera is never really out that much, the front camera. I do think the front camera is pretty good compared to the back camera. But yeah, that is a good element of it. My phone is OnePlus 7T Pro, as you can see. It has 256 storage. I barely use it. 8 gigs of RAM and 3 gigs in there as well for that extra bit. And it's on Android 12, not the latest. It's a Snapdragon Qualcomm. So it's a pretty good phone in terms of the specs. I've tried to update it to a newer Android version, but it's up to date, so that's a good thing. And I don't see any issues with this. This phone has not slowed down at all. I've had literally zero problems with this phone. It's quick, it's nifty. It has the classic Android, you know, quick settings on there. And but one thing that's important for me is to make sure that this phone is up to scratch. So let's get some Geekbench installed on my phone. I do this on all my reviews. Let's get Geekbench installed so we can see in terms of how the phone compares to a brand new OnePlus 7T Pro. The beauty of this phone is that because the updates, it actually gets faster. So I am expecting a slightly better score because, you know, we've had updates over the line, whereas a brand new phone doesn't have those updates, so it might be a little bit slower. So that's the beauty of OnePlus. It only gets faster, whereas other phones, they get slower. On the iPhone side, the battery gets reduced, so the Apple have decided to make the phone less powerful so it lasts longer. But here we go. The score I got is 2,848. What does that mean? Literally nothing until we compare it to other OnePluses. Android 12, it has all the settings in there. 4 cores, 3 cores, and 1 core. Memory size 7.29 gigs. Here, the Qualcomm side of things. So it's just showing me the results of my benchmark that I've done here. So every time I run these tests, it basically breaks down every little element of this in terms of what the phone has. And yeah, the score I have is pretty high, one of the highest I've actually had. But let me just check. Can you see how the phone is flickering a little bit? That flicker. Let me see if it changes the refresh rate. Let me just have a quick look at that because I think it might. So it's going pretty fast. Let's go standard. Oh, it goes a little slower. Can you see that difference? See, it's increased a little bit, the way the screen flickers. So the flickering is how fast it refreshes. So 90 Hz means it refreshes faster. So this is the way that you can visualize the fact that it's refreshing much faster. So you know what? I am pretty happy with that. I'll keep it at 90. Happy days. But yeah, it's Android 12. And the score is slightly better than the original on the average as well. So for me, this is a good thing. So I know on this phone, I do not use much of the memory. The more memory I use, the more RAM I use, the slower the phone is. So this phone has a pretty good score. So I cannot complain at all, which is good. It's about the same as a OnePlus 8. But as you know, the OnePluses, recently they've really shot up, and the OnePlus 11 demolishes my phone right now, but on a day-to-day basis you cannot notice the difference. You know what, like if I get my OnePlus 5T out compared to this phone, speed wise, surprisingly they are the same, even though this has a much higher score. It's just on a day-to-day basis hard to tell. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. What do you think? Peace.